KO. Success is in the details.
What's up, superstars? Over the past few years, we've shared countless tips and tricks on mastering DTF printing. Now, guess what? One of the most popular topics is still our color knockout method. Now, why are knockouts important? You're gonna get a lighter transfer, less bulk, breathable, with little to no compromise on the overall artwork detail. But let's be real, if you're dealing with tons of designs, the process can be tedious. Plus, without software knowledge like Adobe, Affinity, and other advanced editing tools, the learning curve is steep. Now that's where our new tool is about to change the game. Our developers have been working behind the scenes on some of the most powerful automation tools, and one of them, absolutely magical. Now this tool makes knockout effortlessly, no headaches, no guesswork, just pro-level results in seconds. Now, since we're in beta, you'll need to sign up to get early access. The link is gonna be in the description below. Don't miss out on this access. You're gonna wanna try this one for yourself. All right, guys, so the first thing that you want to do is you're going to get a link that's in the description below. It might change because we're always constantly making updates to this tool right now, but the tool that we're going to be focusing on is going to be the color knockout tool right here. So if you're going to try to click this one, it's going to give you a link for you to enter your email address. So I'm just going to go ahead and put an email address that I'm using for this particular project, and you're going to go to the email. You're going to go ahead and load up. It's going to give you a link to access this. So here you go. You get access to this tool. Now that you're logged in, you have access to this tool. One of the things I did want to mention is that I want you to click on the documentation on the top right hand corner right here. We're always making edits, we're always making updates here. So if you want to know what the latest tool or news is or any updates, you're going to click on the doc, because it's going to basically not only summarize what this tool does and how to tweak it for your artwork, it's also going to provide updates as we go along. So as you can see, this talks about what the use cases are, how to use it, how to tweak it up, things of that nature. Very, very basic. You can scroll down to see color selection, edge enhancement, and best practices. These are basically when you're really trying to tweak the fine numbers, what each one means. But I'm gonna do my best to explain that to you guys as easy as possible. So now we're gonna go back to our color knockout tool. This is how this layout template looks like. This is where the magic happens. Now, before we get started here, in our particular case, we're using a lot of AI images. One thing that you have to notice with AI images is when you export AI images, it's made mainly for the web. This is going to be 72 DPI. We kind of want to trick the system to make this 300 DPI so that when you get this printed, it's not going to change the sizing for you when you do want to print this at 300 DPI. I know it may sound a little confusing, but I'm going to go through it with you guys so that you guys can see what I am doing. Now, I'm going to be using Photopea. It's very, very similar to Photoshop, but it is free and it is web-based. I'm going to use this tool because I'm trying to make this as free as possible for you guys. So let's go ahead and open up the files. I have these 4 files that are downloaded from Midjourney. This is where we generated. Why these 4 images are very, very important is because we've actually had tutorials where we do black knockouts on these. And as you guys can see on the other videos, it takes a lot of work and effort to actually do a proper knockout. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you guys watch those videos that we have so that you can see how much work it is required to do it here. And if you want to know what the prompts are, if you want to replicate this, these are the prompts that you need to do. They're basically in the file name. Very generic, very basic, but here, let's go ahead and start pulling the first image here. This is a snake image. Again, I love this image here. If you look at the image size, you're gonna see this is, and I'm gonna change this to inches, by the way. This image here was exported basically 14.2 by 14.2 at 72 DPI resolution. We want to make this and force this to 300 DPI resolution. So I'm going to go ahead and click the resampling. I'm going to change this to 300 resolution, and then I'm going to change this to basically 11 inches is what I want to print this at. And as I click the side, it's going to adjust the height to be at 11 inches. And now this is at 300 DPI resolution. I'm going to click OK. You're going to see this image expand. This is not proper way to resize image because you're basically just stretching out the image. It did not improve it, but it is 300 DPI resolution at that size. It's just a setting that you need to do so that later on you'll watch what I'm going to be doing. It's going to retain that size. So what I'm going to be doing here is file export. I'm going to keep it as a PNG because that's the format that it came in. Just check inches. There you go. Quality is there. There you go. Save. It's saved 11 megabytes, so it's pretty decent size. So let's open up another piece of artwork. Let's do this one. Again, if I check the canvas image size, it's same thing. Everything is going to be the same. It basically is at 72 resolution. So let me force it at 300. Click OK. Export it again as a PNG file. Save. And then let's open up another one. Let's do this one. All right, last one. We're gonna load. If you don't do the 300 DPI conversion, what's gonna happen later on is when you upload this to your printer or our gang sheet builder, it's gonna come out a lot smaller than you want. And in order to make it your 10, 11, 12 inch wide, it's gonna forcefully stretch that image out and then you're gonna lose quality. What I'm trying to do here is to fix all that prior to resizing. That's why I'm tweaking it. I'm forcefully changing it to 300 DPI resolution, and that's the reason why I'm doing it. So now that I have all the images saved, I'm gonna go ahead and go to our color knockout tool. So let's go ahead and click on this. I'm looking at the bigger size files. So as you see, I'm hovering over it. This is 1.94. This is 13. This is obviously the bigger version. 11 megabytes. This is also the bigger version versus this one is at 1. So let's start off with this design right here. Let's take a look at it. This is the file name. If you want to pause and see the prompt that was used, resolution here. This is the dominant colors that are in this artwork. These are different variations of black, and this is the most dominant black at 37%. So this is the primary color here. Now you can use this tool right here to select the color. You can use an eyedropper tool to actually choose the color pixel that you want. If you want to just knock out the black, in this particular case, I would just go ahead and bring this all the way to black. That's the value here. And you can start messing around with the tolerance, the level, the feather, as well as the smoothness. Now, this is something that you should play around with because every artwork is gonna be a little bit different. But once you get the hang of it, it's gonna be super easy. And always, if you're not sure what values to do, you can always click on the documentation and it will tell you what to and how to adjust it. Now here, because I know that this image has a ton of black that I'm gonna be removing, I like to play between 10 to 30%. That's where I found the magic number. In this particular case, if I did 30, I feel like I'm gonna be knocking out way too much here. Feather, let's just take a look at what's happening. You never know, it might work, it might not. There, it's that quick, real time. This is 30%. I'm gonna zoom in real quick to see how it did, and I think it did pretty well. 30%, you still see the little specks right here. You still see all that. It does look pretty good. Let's see what happens if I did it again. And I did like 10%. I'd rather make it a little bit more dramatic to see if it's a bigger difference. So you see what happened there? It barely knocked anything out. You have most of the image present, but you have all the hair, you have the details in the face. This looks pretty good. You get more detail here. But overall, the baby princess's skirt still has a lot of color here. Even though this is very bright and this is nice to have, I feel like it's not knocked out enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and reload this image. I'm gonna make this one right about maybe 18%, and I'm gonna process it again. Boom, there you go. More of the skirt is knocked out. You still see the princess's face, like a good amount of the detail there. I'm happy with this choice and selection. And if you want to put a black on there, that's how it looks, just like that. So once you're done, it is literally that quick. You just click on download. You'll download that version. We'll upload another one. Sure, this is the one. Resolution is 3300. So I know that this is going to be the 300 DPI resolution output that I chose. In this particular case, obviously the black is the majority of the color. But if this was going on a cream color shirt and you want to retain some black, let's just say theoretically something wild like that, I'm going to use the tool. I'm just going to dab a color right there, remove like that, and then just process it. This is going to remove the beige color. This is how it's going to look. And if you're putting on a beige shirt, it will work. But the problem here is that you still have the black background here and it's gonna be super solid. So this is not going to work. Let's just do this properly, load the image. Let's say I'm gonna focus on the black. Tolerance, I'm going to be removing a good amount here of black, let's say like 26%, and let's see the outcome. There you go. I can already tell this is good. The details, I can still see the face on the bats, and once I get this printed, the t-shirt is going to cover up the black. It is going to look good. This is perfect. Let's just download this image. Let's work on the next image. Ninja. This one was a very difficult artwork to do in Photoshop for the black background removal because there's so much water and splash and everything everywhere. I'm not going to reduce as much or else I feel like this image is going to be really washed and I'm not going to be able to see any details after. Let's see what 14% looks like. That's pretty darn good. Like that, I'm happy with it already. Let's go ahead and upload one last one. Also focusing on the black here. I am not going to remove as much in this particular case. Let's see what 10% looks like. I do want to still retain a lot of the details. Look at that. That's pretty good. I still want the face whole. I don't want any more or else it's not going to look good. I think this is going to pass for what we're trying to do. So let's go ahead and download this. There you go. It was just that easy, by the way. I just did 4 knockouts for you. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get our transfers printed. What you wanna do if you need to get any transfers done, head over to our website, transfersuperstars.com. What you're going to do is, I'm gonna order this one in particular with our gang sheet builder. I'm gonna use a 22 by 24 sheet. Gonna click build your gang sheet, and we're gonna start a brand new sheet, upload our artwork, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now that all the artwork is loaded up, all you're going to do is click on this and it will populate. If you have more quantities that you want, you can always adjust it. I'm gonna make this one a little bit smaller just so it fits better on the gang sheet. This is how it looks. So if you click on the image here, it's gonna have this green outline box. This means it's optimal resolution. If for some reason it turns red like this or blue, that means it's lowering or overlapping. Here, let me change this margin so you guys can see fully. So let's say if I brought this image down right here and I stretched it, boom, like that, it becomes red because the resolution dropped under 300, is at 216. Not terrible, but definitely not the recommended gang sheet size that we want. But for this case, bring this back to 22 by 24 so that everything fits nice and tidy. Now, what I would do here is you can go ahead and make sure you sign into your account so that you can always reorder if you need to. Make sure you rename the gang sheet, the specific files that you want. A good rule of thumb I like to do is I like to date things so I can always reference back to it. I can put this as today's date, and I can do color knockout test. This is going to give you a quick checklist on certain things that might pop up that might be an issue, but overall you just going to click print, add to cart, and then we're going to go ahead and get this printed. Let me go ahead and show you how these transfers look. What's up, superstars? We are back and we've got our gang sheet done. If you're wondering what happened to the designs here, why do they look all scattered? This is because it's been knocked out, and this is the effect that you want to get. But let's take a closer look at this so that we can see all the details we were able to do. Looking at this design here, again, it did a very, very good job. We were able to retain a lot of the princess's face, her and her mother's face, so you're able to get those details. You're still able to get those glittery effect, which is going to really show and be apparent once it's on a black t-shirt. I think overall this was executed pretty nicely, but we're going to be able to see the results once we actually press this on a shirt. Now, going over here, originally when I was looking at the design, I was doing the knockout. I thought it looked pretty good, but come to look at the images now, I think I did a little bit too much as far as the knockout. I'm not sure how this is going to come out. I'm going to take a closer look once I flip this around. I'm going to show you exactly what I see and why my concerns are, but I think I knocked out too much color from this and I wish I added a little bit more detail. But overall, I still think this is going to print fine, and you're going to see that in a bit. Now, moving on to the next one, this is going to be the ninja in the water. Now, again, this was also a very, very difficult image to knock out because it was a lot of dark color from the ninja's outfit, and all you had is basically black and blue, and you're able to achieve this knockout version here, which I will again show you later on, and we'll see if this actually transfers and looks like the ninja in the water. Now, lastly, this is going to be the lava snake design. I thought this was the most difficult one out of all the designs because it had so much dark colors in this image. The snake was almost brown, dark black, and there was just so much that you can do to remove the color to make this much lighter and still retain the shape of the snake as well as the lava. There are some areas of concern with this particular artwork. I don't know if it's because of the artwork, but I saw some of the pixels being semi-transparent, which is something that's not normal. So let's go ahead and flip this around and we'll take a look at all of these again. Going back to the first image, the important thing that you guys are paying attention to is the edges here. The knockout did a very, very good job. You're still able to see the edge contract, so you're not going to see any white that's going to be peeking on the sides that you're not wanting. There are some areas that did not pick up some white, which is the details in her dress, but overall I think some of these lines are going to come out, so I think you're overall going to be still getting a good print with this. That's still going to be lightweight, still capture all the bright colors as well as those little stars that are going to really enhance this image. Now moving on over to the next image here. As I mentioned, these are my area concerns. These fine lines in the wings didn't pick up a lot of white ink here. I still feel a little bit of adhesive on there, but I feel overall there are a lot of details that I wish I was able to capture here. Even though we print very, very fine and precise, there are some areas was not able to capture it. So I would have probably reduced the knockout on this a little bit, maybe another 3 or 4%, and I think that I would get more detail here. I was hoping to get the eye of the bat. I see just one eye transfer, so again, that's probably would be the next area that I would focus on, or adding another 3 or 4% of it so it doesn't knock out as much. Maybe this would have came out a lot better. Next image that I wanted to talk about is going to be the ninja design. So if you're looking back here, this one, just a bunch of water spots everywhere, but it did a good job contracting it, so you don't see a lot of haze around that which is going to be unnecessary. You're going to see a lot of blue color that's going to showcase the water effect, and the ninja was knocked out pretty extensively. There's only little spots remaining. I'm hoping that I can still be able to transfer this and have the ninja still seem very apparent. Let's go ahead and move over to the next one. Again, my area concerns here is I did notice there's some areas that had semi-transparent areas, so some of the edges here, but I think overall it's not going to jeopardize the artwork. With the amount of color that was here, I think it's going to look fine, even with those edges that you see right here. I think it's going to actually help the image be able to pick up some of these details. So now that these transfers are done, we're going to go ahead and prep them to get them transferred onto our shirt. We're gonna go ahead and use our cutter. So this is one of a few cutters that we use. This is from Dolly. So I like this cutter because it cuts both directions. All right, we've got our designs ready. All right, let's prep up the heat press. All right, guys, so for our blanks, we're gonna be using Smart Blanks. This is a 402 style in black, 100% cotton, 4.3 ounce. It is a super soft tee. What makes this really special? The price point. This starts at $287, so a really great price point. Make sure you guys check out the link below to get more information from Smart Blanks. They are local to us in Anaheim, so we've had a lot of great customers that have recommended them because of their price point as well as their feel. So let's go ahead and get this decorated. Before I get that started, I did turn on my heat press. I'm gonna go ahead and get this aligned and set up. As you guys can see, my alignment's a little bit off, so let me turn this off. I'm gonna go ahead and remark the lines so that I can get the alignment done right. I'm gonna basically be doing these at 3 inches for our men's shirt. Basically 3 inches here is how I'm going to get this neckline. So I'm kind of gonna do this as fast as I can for you guys. So just gonna mark it. And then I always want the midpoint. So if this is 16 inches, the midpoint is gonna be 8. I kind of have a line right here. I'm just gonna be following since I measured that last time. All right, now even this is a permanent marker, this will rub off over time. So you're gonna have to mark it from time to time as you guys use your press more and more. But once this is set up, it basically allows me to turn on my laser alignment and I can basically put it to place. I can actually adjust this through the laser head as far as turning these knobs, but since I already have it in place, I just move the tripod. It makes things a lot easier. Now that this is lined up and it's in the middle, when I push it back in, all I need to do every single time is to line up the shirt to these laser guides right here. I have this set up at 300 degrees. Now that it is adjusted and I have the neckline here, I know that this is going to be 3 inches here, so we're good to go in this case. Next thing I want to do is grab my design. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half. I don't want to base it off of the film to fold it. I want to base it off of the artwork. So that's why I'm bringing this down to this corner right here to line up with that. And that's going to go ahead and give me the midpoint of the artwork like that. So I take this design, I flip it around, I bring it up to the top of the design, not the top of the film, but the top of the design. I lay it flat, everything is aligned and centered, but it looks good. 300 degrees, 7 seconds, press. So I'm going to be using a microfiber cloth. You do want to rub these down if you have some small fine details like these knockouts that happen here. It leaves a lot of fine details and lines, so I want to go ahead and try to get as much of that as possible. So give it a rub down, let it cool down. Okay, so once it's cooled down, peel. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and flip it around and use the same film because it has that glossy, shiny effect. I don't want to use our matte sheet for this. Now, before I go through this, I'm going to do the next design. So I'm just going to use the same shirt, basically putting the transfer onto the back side. Normally, you don't want to put 2 big transfers on the shirt like this because you will feel both transfers. But the thing is, we're using a knockout, so you're going to barely feel it. I'm going to show you guys in a bit. Let's take this design. The more important object here is going to be the moon. So I'm going to actually line this up to the moon. I think that would make better sense. And then the bats can free flow on the side. So now that midpoint is going to be the moon, like that. Now if I was to freehand and align this, it would have been more difficult. This one has a smaller gap than this side. So now that it's in place, let's go ahead and slide it back. Again, microfiber cloth because I have some really small details. All right, let's let it cool. Ooh, look at that. I think it looks pretty good. You'll see a better view right now. For this particular artwork, I'm gonna go ahead and use our matte finishing sheet. I think it's gonna make the moon look really good. You can't really see right here, but it is kind of shiny. So once I add this matte sheet and get it pressed, it's gonna give it really that nice matted look. Ooh, look at that. Now it's textured. It looks like it has little crater dots all around. This looks really good. Plus using the matte finishing sheet. We'll examine this a little bit later. Now let's grab our next shirt. Go ahead and flip the same film over. Since this has water, I'm going to make the judgment call to use the film instead. All right, before I show you that, let's flip it around and let's do the other. Let's go ahead and take a look at all 4 designs and go through them real quick. Now the first one is going to be this princess design here. I was cautious about the skirt and some of the details, but in fact, some of it did come out. I think not everything, but it is enough. You do have enough detail to know that this is a skirt. Some of the areas that were not perfect, I would say, are these little blemishes here. It did an overall good job. There's not a lot of white noise that's all over the place, but it's not perfect either. But it's really a small detail. It looks like the galaxy. No one's really going to tell you, hey, your shirt's not printed well. But if you're picky, particularly me, because I'm a printer, I'm supposed to catch all these things. This is something that's hard to actually fix. But for a one-click knockout and how quick it did its job, I think this is a pretty good job. Look at this star right here. Perfect. No noise. Perfect. Did a very good job. Look at it retain its face and then fading the right way right here. I don't know how else it would have been able to capture this fade without having a crisp line. So even though it has this little bit of a white noise edge here, I think it overall complements the artwork and it just looks fine. But let me know what you guys think about this princess design in the comments below. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the next design. This one is a surprising design. It came out a lot better than I thought. I was worried about some of the lines on the wings not coming through, but this is just perfect. It looks exactly like the moon with some craters on there. I think it did a phenomenal job at capturing all the details. Look at the bat, you can see the fuzz on the face. You can even see the claws on the legs right here. Pretty good design. Not only printed on front and back, the beauty about this is because you're doing a knockout, you hardly feel this shirt. It's a big print in the front and the back, but you hardly feel this shirt because of the knockout. Very phenomenal job. So that's the bat design. Let's go take a look at the next one. Ninja. Also, it surprised me. I didn't think I would get any colors for the hands, the skin, the eyes. You can see that there's a person behind there. It may not be the best version, but you're not supposed to see a ninja anyways. But look at this. The details in the sword, the water splashes all around everywhere. You know, even though the edges were not super solid, this did a perfect job at capturing the water effect. This is phenomenal. Really good job on this one. Way better than I thought it would turn out. One click, guys, one click. All right, let's look at the next design right here. Snake, one of the hardest designs I thought that were here. I do see a lot more white in the scales than I would normally want to see, but again, this is what gives it the detail. If there wasn't this white shading here, you wouldn't get this detail in the eyes. Look at the eyes right here. Even though it has a little bit of white noise around the edges right here. Can you zoom out and tell me that this does not look good or the white is too much? Like, this is a nice detailed print and it's also very soft. Look at that, look at that. Tell me DTF is heavy. So let me know what you guys think about this snake design in the comments below. Guys, you've seen us put these together. Thank you, Smart Blanks, for sending us these blanks for us to test these knockouts on. I think these shirts are great. And as far as the artwork, I hope you guys got a chance to take a look at the magic that our tool is able to create. Take advantage of this now. I know you guys have some artwork in your computer. Get this loaded up, use the link that we have below, play around with it, test it, and see what magic you guys are gonna be able to create with this tool. I'm telling you guys, it's never been this easy. And if you guys found this video helpful, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. We'd love to drop more videos like this, but we do need your support. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like button, and let us know which one was your favorite design. My name is Phil. I'll catch you on the next one.